Everyone has their embarrassing moments in their life. I embarrass myself every day, but when someone asks me about any embarrassing moments I've gone through, my mind goes entirely blank. Probably because those moments I go through sound incredibly stupid when I say them out loud, and I have to think about how I want to say it, and if it sounds stupid, then that would be embarrassing. I guess you could say that I overcomplicate anything that's embarrassing to me. I'm sure that the people that witness my embarrassment don't really think much of it, but I do, and it's awful. The thing about my embarrassing moments is that during the time that it happens, I don't really think about it much, mainly because I don't overthink it when it currently goes on. I only start to think so hard about it after the moment has passed, and everyone has already forgotten about it, but I'm so deeply affected by it that it actually starts to hurt. It's like when you get in a fight with someone, and you think so hardly about some really good comebacks to totally annihilate them. The only problem is that the argument happened 6 hours ago, and what actually happened in the fight is that you got annihilated. I think too much about what I could have said in the past, and fantasize about them losing to my amazing comebacks. In my head. But the thing is, I wouldn't have any time to think of a good comeback during the actual situation. You know, the argument that happened 6 hours ago. My entire life before that one moment was so great until it led to that point. This is why I'm too cautious to make mistakes, because I feel like I'll be humiliated for life and I'll never get that old feeling back ever again. So, is it bad for me to say that I get happy when I see other people make mistakes? It only makes me feel better about my own. Anyway, let me talk about my own embarrassing moments. Again, when I say these out loud, it's gonna make me sound stupid and easily embarrassed. That's because I am stupid and easily embarrassed. But that's just the way it is. I'm gonna start soft, with a very common embarrassing experience that I'm sure that everyone has gone through at least once. However, this only happened to me one time, and it was traumatic. This may possibly be the first and most memorable embarrassing moment I've gone through. Peeing yourself. It happened to me in 3rd grade. When I was still in my first few years of elementary school, I always hated using the bathroom there. I would hold it for hours until school ended for the day so I could use my own bathroom at home. Even now, I hate public washrooms, and this hatred for public washrooms started during this era. There have been times during class that I did pee myself, but only a little bit, so I don't really consider it embarrassing because no one noticed that I did. But when recess came along and I really needed to go, I couldn't hold it in any longer, and I just let it happen. Of course, my pants became noticeable and some of my classmates noticed. I was mortified. I ended up going to the office with my teacher telling me, "Why did you pee your pants?" And little me was crying, saying, "I don't know." Eventually, my parents had to come to school with new pants so I could change, and yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. But I guess not really, because it happens to everyone. But remember, if you can't hold it in, don't try to hold it in. And speaking of holding it in, another one of my most common fears is letting out a fart in class. Over the years, I've kept this habit of holding in my farts so I don't make any noise during class. Let's be real, no one wants to let out a fart in the middle of class. Thankfully, there have been times that I let out a fart accidentally, but it was very quiet and I stopped myself before it made an impactful noise. But there has been one very traumatizing moment in my life that this has happened. It was in elementary school, during a summer camp with several other classes. Some of the instructors were guiding us on something, and I accidentally farted, and it definitely sounded like a fart. You see, this wasn't during a class, it was with multiple classes, so I'd say about 100 kids heard that. I looked around shamefully and noticed some kids smiling. Luckily, no one said anything, but people definitely thought it. I don't think anyone knew it was me, but I was so embarrassed at that time. So far, I've listed very specific moments, but the embarrassing ones I experience the most commonly are when I socialize with others. I don't have a lot of time to think of what I want to say when I'm talking to someone, and I end up slipping my words and look like an idiot. Some people just genetically have more confidence than me, and when someone laughs at me at what I say, I just laugh it off and then hide my burning red face away. Even when I try to make a good conversation with someone, I end up looking really bad. And sometimes when I stand up for myself and say what I think, it'll just end up embarrassing me even more. This is what happens when I get confidence in anything. Either I'll feel so good about myself that I actually use my vocal cords in front of someone, or I'll hate myself and wish I never put myself in this world. And I know that no one really cares that I did something embarrassing, and there is a possibility that they may not even know that I was embarrassed by it. I'm normally a very expressionless person, so I don't really show a lot of emotion depending on my mood. Which is a good thing, because if I ever feel embarrassed, I won't look like I am. Except I actually am. But you'll never know. Actually, I've just realized that almost all of my embarrassing moments happen when I'm talking to someone. Maybe because there really isn't anything embarrassing that could happen to me unless I do it in front of people. When I have some private time, it gives me the opportunity to be the most awkward, strangest person ever. but it only gets embarrassing when other people see it. I feel like I make a big deal out of these things when everyone most likely doesn't care or notice. Even the littlest of things, like a slight mistake, could get me to be torn down. Not only does it make me feel embarrassed, but it also makes me feel guilty. Like I said at the beginning, I'm incredibly cautious to make mistakes because I don't want to disappoint anyone with how bad I am at everything. And before you tell me it's okay to make mistakes and everyone does them, you can't convince me to be optimistic enough to make up for what I did wrong. There will always be one embarrassing thing that'll happen to me the second I leave my house, so I've learned to either stop thinking so hard or staying at home. Nah, who am I kidding? I'll always stay home.